Hey, I'm Doug and welcome to Doppler's Gear Garage. In this video, we're going to be checking out the Epiphone Les Paul Standard 60s. And I just love this guitar. Dollar for dollar, I think it's the best Les Paul on the market. And the goal of this video is to demonstrate that, hopefully. All right, so here's the thing. At the top there, you're hearing the guitar in drop D through the pair of Badlander 50 combos for what I call one-pass double tracking. That is to say, one guitar, 2 amps, hard pan, kind of simulating the sound of double track guitars. Guitar stayed in tune really well. Love the way it conveys heavy, but as you'll hear in the other demos, it does a huge range of things that are really kind of near and dear to my heart in terms of what I reach for Les Paul for. All right, in a moment, we're going to go through 5 things I think you're going to want to know about this guitar, but before we do that, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and don't forget to ring the bell so I can let you know when more videos are going to go online. With that said, let's get to it. So there are chapter markers for this and all the sections of the video down below in case you want to get to a particular section or rewatch it. All right, 5 things I think you're going to want to know about this guitar. The tone woods, mahogany neck and body with a maple cap. For all the guitars in this line that have this beautiful flame top, that is a maple veneer on top of the maple cap, but the core woods are classic Les Paul Standard. The fingerboard is Laurel, that if I didn't know it was Laurel, I wouldn't know it was Laurel. It feels and sounds to my fingers and ears just like rosewood. Classic again, Les Paul Standard vibe, sounds and feels like the Les Paul Standards that I've played and loved. Those are Grover Rotomatic tuners. One of the first things I do when I buy Gibson guitars is I traditionally put on locking tuners. I find that the G string has a tendency to go flat with enough excited bending on the G string. So the deal is, these tuners have stayed perfectly in tune, and I have no interest in changing them out, and I'm not going to. All right. Next up, we have the lock tone stop bar, tailpiece, and bridge. And so the interesting thing is these are made in such a way, these are Epiphone, crafted. If you change the strings and take all the strings off, this guy actually stays locked in there, hence the name lock tone. Doesn't come floating off. The other thing is the Tune-O-Matic bridge has a wire going across the top of the saddle such that if you happen to kind of take a string off or take all the strings off and go like that, the saddles don't fall off onto some dimly lit backstage room, which can be totally gross to be crawling around on the floor trying to find your saddle. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the other thing about these guitars is they come with a really nice gig bag that I will be very happy to carry this thing around in and feel quite safe with. So collectively, makes for a guitar that's great, first of all, for beginners, whether you're starting out or maybe you've got a kid that's starting. This is a great starter guitar. If this had been my first guitar, holy cow, I would have been way better, way faster. For intermediate players that are looking for a step up, more Paul, less money. And for professional players like myself, well, I just bought a second one, which really means I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I love this guitar. All right, next demo, here we go. So for that one, I was using the Mark VII to demonstrate one of my favorite things about this guitar, the pickups. In the neck position, the Pro Bucker 2, nice and full, that classic Les Paul neck position tone without being tubby. And when you switch to the bridge position, you get that burst of high end without it being shrill or harsh. And what's really neat is the 2 pickups really complement each other, both in terms of tone and volume. So as you toggle back and forth between the 2 of them, you don't have to reach for the tone or volume controls if you don't want to. And in turn, that middle position is that perfect blend between them. So the Gibson Falcon is great for kind of wide open, kind of vintagey, rootsy Americana tones. It's one of the things I love about that amp so much. And in particular with that sound there, it really did a great job of translating the clarity as you get from string to string as you move up and down the neck. And speaking of moving up and down the neck, this guitar has a Graphtec nut. And The intonation on this instrument is outstanding. Many instruments, if you were to use the harmonic to 12th fret, tune the guitar, and make sure your intonation is in, go to play an open position C chord, you're going to find that that C at the first fret on the second string is sharp, which basically means that chord is frequently out of tune. Kind of no matter what you do, unless you're tuning specifically for that chord. Now at the end there, I was kind of doing this descending thing using the chord. So even though this is a Gibson spacing instrument, that is to say the frets are a little bit closer together than on a Fender scale, the string spacing is as such that I have relatively wide pads that I can still fret those chords without pulling or pushing those strings out of tune. And the end result is a guitar that plays extremely well in tune in terms of the intonation up and down the neck and across the strings. Love that. So there I was using the California Tweeds in stereo. And I was running the Keeley Andy Timmons signature halo pedal in the loop of both amps to kind of create the stereo separation. And as much as there is some ambience there, there's not a lot of room to hide in terms of the notes and the intonation, but that's part of what makes it so pretty. Now, the thing about that demo in particular, as it relates to this guitar, is many kind of inexpensive and mid-priced instruments just lack character. And the thing about this guitar that continues to impress me, especially at the price point, is how much tone it delivers, kind of regardless of what you plug it into or what it is you play through that. I love that. So for that one, I was back over on the Mark VII for that wonderful swampy vibe. And again, another flavor that this guitar serves up with ease. So here's the thing. One of my favorite things that I haven't talked about on this guitar is the neck shape. This is a 60s slim taper C profile neck, which means if you want to get the thumb around the top of the neck for playing bass notes for something swampy like that, or maybe the Hendrix chords, or easily use the thumb around the top of the neck for bending if maybe you have smaller hands or fingers. It's great for that. The 60s necks are smaller than the 50s necks, in case you didn't know. And there was a guitar that I had in the 70s that this neck shape, as I've been playing this guitar, I was like, wait a second, I know what it reminds me of, that 1976 Les Paul Standard that I don't have anymore, but really reminded me of the shape of that neck. Super easy to play. All right, so that gets us to the end of this video. For more information about the Epiphone Les Paul Standard 60s, please visit epiphone.com. And again, if by chance you haven't subscribed to the channel, want to invite you to do so. Don't forget to ring the bell so I can let you know when more videos about gear like this are going to go online. I also want to take a quick moment and thank everyone at Epiphone, Gibson, and Mesa Boogie for the fabulous job you guys are doing. The gear you're making is enabling me to find the tones that I've been chasing my entire life. I am so grateful, so thank you. All right, once again, really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks again for watching.